Thanksgiving Day ということで、日本語では感謝祭って言いますね。アメリカとカナダの大きな祝日、クリスマスと同じ料理をね、食べるぐらい、結構本当に大きなイベント、大きな祝日の一つなんですね。私はですね、何を作ったかっていうと、その私のお友達家族と一緒に、過ごしたんですよね。で、その時に作ったのが、これです。じゃじゃーんっていうことで。これは私が作ったいつもお見せしてるOCグローズのやつからなんですけど、Lentil Mushroom Walnut Balls with Cranberry Pear Sauce。クランベリーペアソースっていうのは、そのね、備え付けでこれつけて食べるんですけど、これ結構美味しかったです。これはね、すごいいろいろ入ってるんですけど、スタッフィングっていうやつで、ロールドオーツ、グラノーラバーとかのオーツね。オーツ麦のやつと、レントウと缶のレントルを混ぜ合わせて、それがブレッド代わりになるんですけれども、パンの代わり。で、あとはケールと、ウォーナッツ。何入れたかないっぱい入れました。こんな感じで、たくさん、マッシュルームも入れたかな。で、混ぜ合わせて、ボールにして、作ったっていうのをね、やったんです。はい。で、これのね、クランベリーソースはうちの娘が超ハマってて、すごく良かったです。で、あと何を食べるのかっていうのはね、この後またゆっくり話していきたいなっていうふうに思います。今年は初めてこんな感じでね、スタッフィングとか、そういったね、野菜類とか、ディナー、Thanksgiving ディナーっていうのを今回初めて作ってみました。で、日本語でね、どんな感じかっていうの、Thanksgiving。今日は、ゲストでね、アンソニー先生をお迎えしています。今日はこのアンソニー先生の見る Thanksgiving Day についてもちょっと話していきたいと思いますので、いきなりね、英語がブワーっと流れたらちょっと大変かもしれないので、簡単に私の目線での、Thanksgiving Day を、お伝えしたいと思います。で、Thanksgiving Day、アメリカとね、カナダは違うんですよね、日にちが。で、これLINE 登録していただいている方はもうご存知だと思うんですけど、この11月の第4木曜日っていうのがアメリカの Thanksgiving で来月になります。なんで、何月何日がThanksgiving だよっていうことではなくって、毎月、毎年日にちが違うんですね。で、アメリカの方なんですけど、この最初の感謝祭が行われたのが1621年って言われていて、このピルグリムっていうね、この人たちが起源で、この人たちがね、冬のアメリカに到着した時にすごく死にそうだったんですよね、飢えて。そんな時にこのネイティブアメリカンの人たちがこのピルグリムたちを助けたっていうところで、その翌年の1621年であるこの時期この11月の時期にですね、逆に前回助けてくれてありがとうっていう感じで、そこでトーキーが出たそうなんですけど、トーキーだったり、あとは、海の海産物っていうのを、渡してですね、そういった宴会みたいなのをしたのが始まりと言われています。なので、アメリカはこういったね、裏側があるというふうに言われています。じゃあ、カナダはどんなものかっていうと、10月の第2月曜日で今日、カナダでは今日なんですけれども、どんなものかっていうと、カナダのこの感謝祭の由来って結構諸説あるそうなんですけど、初めて開かれたのは1578年。なんでカナダの方が早いんですよね。へーと思ったんですけど。で、秋の収穫を祝う行事っていうことで行われてきていて、で、カナダの冬は早いんですよ。11月に行ってしまうとね、11月はもう本当に雪降ったりするところもカナダの真ん中の方、私が住んでるとこはあんまり11月では雪あんまり降らないんですけど、もう10月の末ぐらいからもう大体カナダの真ん中のとこはね、すごい雪が降り出したりだとか、まさに上の方、私のお友達が今、すごい上の北の方のカナダにいるんですけど、彼女たちはね、もう9月の末から雪を見ているんですよね。それぐらいやっぱり北の方になるので、そういった方向に行くとやっぱり寒いので、早く冬がやってくるので、秋の収穫を祝う行事っていうのがこの10月、この時期が一番いいとされて、祝われているようです。はい。 じゃあ、最後にね、何を食べてるんですかっていうことなんですけど、さっきね、ピルグリムの話、ピルグリム違う、ピルグリムの話にあった通り、トゥーキーを食べることが、多いですね。チキンみたいな、チキンと感覚は似てる気がするけど、七面鳥ですね。を食べる。これがメインになります。はい。で、その後の、その場所によって違うんですけど、スタッフィングって言って、スタッフィング、そのお米とかをご飯とか、そういうのをギュって、ターキーの中に入れて丸焼きにする人もいれば、それはせずに、ボールのように、私がさっきお見せしたボールのようにね、こんな感じでやっている人もいます。これもスタッフィングと呼びます。はい、こんな感じですね。はい。で、あとはマッシュポテトだったり、ローストポテトだったり、その辺はね、それぞれ人のご自宅に、ご家庭によって違うんですけれども、トゥーキー、最近はビーガンのお友達とか、私も、あんまりそういう、肉をあまり食べない方向に行ってるので、そういう人とかは、なんかちょっとお肉のような、ビヨンドミートとかもあるので、そういうの食べたりとか、レントローフ食べたりとか、私の先日遊びに行ったお宅は、お肉は食べないけど魚食べるから、じゃあサーモンにしようかみたいな感じで、メインもね、何を食べるかもね、本当にその家庭によって違う。お正月でいう、私たちがこのお餅をこうね、お雑煮食べるのがちょっとそこそこで入れるものが違いますよね。そんな感じかなって思います。ちなみに昨日食べたやつこれです。じゃーん。これはスイートポテト。これは私が作ったスタッフィング。チキンとサーモンがあって、これはポテトのチーズみたいなのかな。で、これはね、グレイビーソースとクランベリーソースを私が作って持っていきました。こんな感じで、お友達がこれ作ってたのはね、すごい美味しかったです。さつまいもにブラウンシュガーをかけて、あとバターを塗ったとか言ってたんですけど、すごい甘いね、お芋でした。はい。こんな感じでね、すごい楽しい食卓でね、はい、昨日の夜、みんなで、お友達夫妻と一緒にディナーをさせてもらいました。はい。ということで、ここまでが、私のね、日本語で、サンクスギビングやったよっていうとこなんですけど、ここからね、アンソニー先生の目線で、サンクスギビングを聞いていきたいなと思いますので、ここからは英語になるので、ぜひ、英語で言語化していただいてもいいですし、質問があれば、ぜひこちらの中にコメントをしていただければね、もちろん質問答えますので、どんどん質問していただきたいなと思います。3, 2, 1. Hello!
Hello.
はい。ケン君もおりますけど。はい。Okay. So
Camera shy.
now, thank you for waiting. I want to talk about what do you do on Thanksgiving?
On Thanksgiving, it's a holiday. It's centered around family. That's both American and Canadian. Thanksgiving is really centered about spending time with family and being thankful. Well, originally it started with being thankful for the food that you could get that year from harvesting and hunting and whatnot. These days, that's not such a big deal since we all go to supermarkets. So it's more to do just being thankful for what you have and spending time with relatives.
Yeah, that's important. I really like to think about appreciate the food we can have, appreciate the house we can live on, and yeah, so on. So I really like this Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, okay. You want to add more, or is that's about it?
No, it's a tough time for a woman. There's a big difference between men and women. Women are usually spend most of the day in the kitchen, preparing food and getting everything ready. It's not uncommon for men to just kind of be on the sofa watching the game or the news or whatnot. And it's very similar to how you spend time on Christmas Day. You know, when all the presents have been unwrapped and all the excitement is over. Kids will be playing with their cousins or whoever they haven't seen in a long time, or, that is if you see family. And so guys just kind of get an easy day of relaxing, at least, in my family and the people who I know. And then, tough work for women. But I think there's a bit of pride as well, because they take pride in cooking some of the more difficult meals or dishes that don't usually get cooked at most other times of the year.
Yeah. To be honest, yesterday was the first time I cook like kind of dinner for the first time. But it was fun.
Yeah, I think it is fun. I mean, it's
like,
not like they're not there in a kitchen being a slave. Like you're usually there with sisters and other, moms, sisters, cousins, girl, cousin, they're all there together talking, having fun, and it's still a fun time for sure.
Yeah. But the other hand, I went to Yoga Gracie this yesterday morning, and we just talk about some ladies, some moms are really, really stressful, have to stand on the kitchen for a long time. It just stuck there and they cannot do anything whatever they like. So like Teresa and I and also Ricardo, we are just chatting about maybe they should like come to yoga, or even if they don't like yoga, maybe go take a break to something before doing something, before making cooking or stuck in the kitchen. Maybe go like see movie, or you know what I mean? Like better
Absolutely.
To do something and restore yourself and then get back to like your job or whatever you need to do. So I was really glad to go to yoga to practice myself, because I understand. I felt that feeling because I feel stuck, and then I have to do this, I have to do that. Why are you sitting on the couch and then are you not helping me? Something like I'm really stressful. But if I go yoga and restore myself, do something whatever I like, and then like it's so easy to transfer to go towards something like the work.
There are jobs that, this is a day of tradition, and tradition, much like Japan, I think, and other cultures, kind of puts women in the kitchen, but it does assign roles to men as well. It's just a lot of these roles have kind of been phased out over the years. So, for example, it would be a man's job to get the fire going and to keep the fire going, to go outside, get firewood, chop down trees, chop it up into pieces. That was all a man's job. Women wouldn't have to do any of that. So, in a way, it was the guy that would have, and this is at a time, especially American Thanksgiving, where it's getting kind of cold outside, and it'd be his job to go out and do these things. And of course, for like the more smaller communities, the man would have to go get the turkey or the chicken or whatever it is that they're going to hunt. They have to go do that. These days, of course, it's just for most people, it's a trip to the supermarket. And you just turn on the heating in your house, and then you don't have to worry about that. But some houses and some places that do have wood burning fireplaces and whatnot, a guy has to keep that going, and overall kind of watch the children as well. So those roles that were typically assigned to men have kind of phased out. So but I agree. I mean, especially for some things that take a long time to cook, like turkey, 6-7 hours to cook, depending on the size. It's nothing wrong with getting it in the oven, asking someone, a husband or whoever, to keep an eye on it, going out, doing some yoga, doing something for yourself, and then coming back. And there's nothing to do between then, because it's a slow cooking meal. But I mean, every family does it differently, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, like I just want to say, like if I could say to ladies or like busy mom, I want to say like do that whatever you want right now and restore yourself, and then I get back to work. So like I always know about I was the same person, so I'm just really stressful, so I just could say something like that anyway. And then you reminds me like, no, usually now we can go to the supermarket to get a turkey or something, whatever you want to. But like long time ago, they usually hunt turkey and then cook it.
And it's not easy because when you do, I knew a guy back when I lived in Toronto who did hunt turkey. And he told me all sorts of things, like you'd have to hit it in the right spot, because if you shoot the turkey in the body, you got a bullet lodged in its body, and it's just, it's not really good. You got to hit it in the head, and you got to be a pretty good marksman to really go out and shoot these things. It's not like an easy thing. So it's pretty interesting.
I forget we chatted about the same thing, and then like that, my friends told me she saw that there's a turkey that they were going to have, and then that turkey is alive, but one of the person to got the turkey and broken legs or broken neck. Start to cook it. Like, whoa, I felt so, I think I can have that.
In some cases, they'll just take it live, put it across a wooden block and chop off its head. And then the funny thing is the body is still alive for about 8 to 10 seconds.
Oh my
God. So
God.
it'll be a headless, and we have expressions like a headless chicken. You do it with chickens usually, but it'll run around backwards apparently without a head on before plopping over, which is pretty weird and odd, but that's life, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's why we should appreciate, right? The food.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Well, that goes back to the roots of Thanksgiving. So when when settlers were first coming to this land, America and Canada, it was a really dangerous time. And a lot of the times, a lot of settlers would not survive the winter. They would die. Even the first pilgrims to come over on the Mayflower, that very first winter, well, first of all, they all stayed in the ship. It was too cold. They didn't have anything set up on the land. You're coming to this completely barren, wild land. There's nothing there. And they didn't have the right skills to really survive. And most of them stayed on the ship that winter. Half of them died. And that was the way it was for many, many years with new settlers coming over. Many would not survive the winter. And it's not just your first winter. It's for every winter was like a gamble. You needed to make sure that you have all the food that you're going to need, because nothing's going to grow. And you got to be able to survive. And some of the big challenges were fighting off diseases like scurvy. Scurvy is a disease that you get when you don't have enough vitamin C from oranges or lemons and whatnot. That was a problem because over here, now remember, this is all on the east coast of Canada and America, places that is now New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Toronto, Quebec. These are places where oranges don't typically grow. So there was no access to vitamin C. So people would get these diseases and they would die. And it wasn't until later that, they could overcome this. But it was a real challenge. And that's kind of where, that's where the roots kind of come from.
I see. So you say pilgrim?
Pilgrim, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Okay. It was so far, so like I just catch a little bit, but I wasn't sure. Okay. So this is the one I just introduced them first in Japanese. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
cool.
They were people who came across. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, the last question is, so what is the difference between American Thanksgiving and Canadian Thanksgiving?
That's a good question. Canadian Thanksgiving is always celebrated, but it's not as wildly popular as American Thanksgiving. Over in America, Thanksgiving is a really big holiday, right up there with Halloween and Christmas. One of the really big holidays of the year. It's a big holiday here too, but what really separates it are things like, I would say two things actually. One, American Thanksgiving always coincides with a really big football game, and a lot of Americans love their American football. So that's always a big event. And the second one, following American Thanksgiving, there's always a bunch of these sales that start popping up. Like, what do they have now? Cyber Tuesday and the ever famous Black Friday. So a lot of things start coming up on sale, and that kind of just props up this whole eventful buildup of this holiday, pre-Christmas holiday season, because American Thanksgiving is in November. and it just makes it into an even bigger holiday. Down there, people are much more willing to travel across country or go great distances to see family. Whereas here, we try it, but we don't put as big of an emphasis on it as Americans do. So, but I would say, yeah, the football and the sales, the sales season, all that, it really heightens the holiday over in the States. That's, to me, is a big one. There are some historic differences too, like the 1621 famous meal that the Pilgrims had with the Native Americans. That happened in the United States. And although we relate to that, there is like a connection between what Native Americans or indigenous people did for us. Canada, I think, is connects it a little bit more to just the harvest season. This is the season of harvest. This is when you reap all the hard work that was done throughout the summer, early fall, and you pluck out all the food you're going to have that winter, the pumpkins, the squash, all the fruits and vegetables that you need to store. And of course, there's usually a bit of meat that goes along with it. Although turkey is the famous one, of course, typically, in the past, like way in the past, hundreds of years ago, it was anything that you could get: deer, fish, even seals. Nothing was off the menu there. Whatever you had access to for meat, you would serve up, and that was really what it was about.
Yeah, cool. That's great to know. But you know what? I think I always every year ask you the same question. I just don't remember. So this time I try to remember, and I'm not gonna ask you the same question next year.
It doesn't bother me. It's fine. I'm not super big on. I like Thanksgiving, of course. It's not my biggest holiday though. I'm much more of a Halloween person.
Okay. But for me, I really like Thanksgiving. I love this theme too. Like appreciate gratitude. So that's why. On that Global Yogi Studio, I try to do grateful flow and to do yoga and doing for example, the unbalancing. So when you do unbalancing, appreciate our wrist or arms to hold on our body, something like this.
That's what it's all about: food, friends, and family, right? So
so I really like to appreciate lots of things that usually we don't focusing on too much, so it's really nice to think about those stuff. Thank you very much. And then so today our holiday, so I'm taking time off, so we are going to go pumpkin patch later.